All right. So joining us today is Taylor Rodriguez. We're super excited to have you on Zeit's Beyond the Support Queue podcast. I'm going to let you dive in a little bit into your role on the customer experience side at Tracker, but I know there's a lot to cover. So just to start us off, considering Tracker's global kind of presence, just from your end, wanted to hear how you think the customer support landscape has evolved in 2025, especially with everything AI related right now.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joe, for having me on the podcast today. My name is Taylor Rodriguez. I am a global VP of customer experience here at Tracker. Tracker is a marketing technology solution for global enterprise brands who specifically want to scale their creator marketing programs. And so I've been with the company for about 6.5 years now. Prior to this, I was agency side. I've also been in-house, so I've done a number of different roles, but now I'm in the customer success space, which has been really fun, and I've learned a ton of information. I think specifically in 2025, what we're seeing is that a lot of the customers that we're working with are asking smarter questions. And so there's a lot of metrics that you see in the social space. And it's not just about the metrics, but it's also about that deeper layer of what their customers are doing. And so the whole entire conversation around influencer measurement has really moved from top line metrics to really like what it's doing for our customers' business. And so this means we have to think about it from a couple of different layers, from what our support team does on the front lines to how we train our customers, to the type of work that our customer success managers are doing, the type of insights that our professional services team delivers, as well as what we present upward to top execs at our largest customers. And I think also as we're seeing like some of the economic situations tighten, we're seeing that a lot of CMOs are really trying to get much more clear around what those metrics are. So there's a lot deeper questions that we are seeing around performance. And so this really means that there's been a bigger reliance on our support team. We've seen a 50% year-over-year increase on our support tickets. And maybe that's not a surprise because we've got more customers and more users. But yeah, I would say it's affected us in a number of different ways. And obviously, we're also thinking about how we leverage a meaningful way to effectively get back to our customers more quickly, but also leverage new tools that are available to us.
Definitely. And I think one question that I had there, as you mentioned, like the top line metrics and just metrics in general changing. What's like the top metric that you guys use, or maybe one that you think is somewhat outdated, especially in the past couple of years? I know that a lot of people follow NPS and CSAT. Just curious on your side, what's most relevant?
Yeah, we look at a couple of different metrics. I wouldn't necessarily say that we look at a singular metric. So we track our first response time, so how quickly we're responding to our customers. We track how many customers have been trained. We've got an online academy where users can get trained on our platform. So we look at how much time they've been spending there, how many users have been trained. We look at actual training hours that our support and training team delivers. We look at median close response time. And we look at all of these numbers in aggregate. NPS is also a part of it. We've got a CSAT score as well. And I think depending upon which metric you are looking at will impact the situation that you might have with a customer. So I wouldn't necessarily say like we have one silver bullet of a metric, but we do look at all of the metrics in aggregate just because there are different stories that they might tell. So if we have one customer who is submitting an extraordinary amount of tickets, then that tells us probably, number one, that they are very into the data and they understand very well, but maybe they are having recurring or consistent issues. And so that will impact how we respond to that customer, or maybe things that we need to bring back to the product team. I don't know if I could give you one, but I would say we look at a couple of key metrics because they each tell a different story.
So not really like a one size fits all. It's just dependent on the situation there.
There are a lot of teams that have like singular health scores. We also have a proprietary health score, but it doesn't include some of these metrics that have evolved over the past couple of years. So maybe there's probably some work that we have to do on the evolution of that. There's obviously also CX tools that can help provide that. But we're a small and nimble team. So we've got all of our performance indicators that we keep an eye on. And then obviously our CSMs look at those as well, just to understand exactly what's going on with their accounts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. And I guess switching gears here a little bit, just because I know that Tracker is a remote and global team. I guess with the remote presence, how do you ensure that your team still feels super deeply connected with customer pain, especially as automation and AI are increasing?
It's a great question. I think so. Our CSMs are on the phone every single day with our customers. So I would say they're very deeply ingrained with the things that our customers are doing. And we have a whole entire set of campaign management tools that our customers use. And so we are not only familiar with their workflows that they're doing, but we are also familiar with any challenges that they might have. And it's not just the customer that we're working with. A lot of times it might be creators who are trying to collaborate on a campaign, or it could even be agency members who are working on behalf of the customer. So I would say our CSMs and consultants who work on the business are very familiar with some of those challenges. And I actually think a little bit of friction is maybe not necessarily a bad thing for your business. I think it's really important to have a strong understanding of the challenges that your customers have so that you can effectively manage those challenges in a way that will actually solve whatever those friction points might be. We do a number of different things to surface that information. We obviously have all of our reporting and metrics around support. We also have internal account reviews. If something does need to be escalated in a more serious way, our CSMs know that they know who to reach out to make sure that we're bringing the right cross-functional people together. But I would say because we have people who are really in our customer's business, there's no part where anything is offset by AI. Like the AI tools that we're using and things that we're doing to make the work better or faster don't remove us from any of the customer feedback that would prevent us from making our product better.
For sure. And with the customer pains and bridging the gap between CSMs and like the support team, how, especially remotely, like how do they communicate best across different time zones? What's your method there?
Yeah. So we have a number of different tools in place that help us manage issues. And we have a global team in place as well. So we have representatives who are all across the globe who help us make sure that we're more or less always on. And this helps us bring a higher level of it. It helps bring our response times down, and we make sure that we've got right coverage in the right place. So whenever someone submits a question, we've got someone to answer. In terms of how our CSMs and support team works together, there's a couple of different ways. A CSM might loop in our support team if there's an issue or maybe a bug that they're seeing, and they will submit that issue to our support team, and they know that our support team will manage it. We use a tool called Intercom, which I'm sure you are probably very familiar with. And so most of the issues that get managed through there, we've got like a ton of reporting that we can do, but also we make sure that the CSMs have visibility on any of those issues. We also leverage several other internal systems in order to manage challenges, whether or not we need to get engineering involved. So I would say like we've got a number of good systems in place to ensure that we're putting the right issues where issues can be solved and that we're providing the right level of visibility. And again, I think if there's something that needs to be escalated, or if someone realizes that maybe there is some sort of issue that might just not be singular to a single account, but maybe there's a bug that someone's seeing that they think actually this could be affecting multiple accounts, we've built in like an escalation process so that both CSMs and our support team knows that depending on the level of severity or what they might be seeing, they know who to loop in and when.
Yeah. So I guess from what I've heard, like kind of summarizing there, it sounds like you guys have a lot of great systems in place which really help out the different time zones and being able to communicate cross-functionally across those time zones?
We do the best that we can. It's not always a perfect system, but definitely like we have bodies in all of the major time zones in order to provide timely support. There's just no other way that you can, I think, do it better. Like you need actual people who can be as close to customers as possible. And so that's the best system that we found. Of course, technology helps us streamline some of those things to a certain extent, but making sure that we have the right coverage has been absolutely critical to making sure that we can scale our business in those respective regions.
Definitely. I think that's great. And I just to follow this remote topic, I think I'm super interested to hear just some more about these remote teams. So, a question that I have is when everyone is remote, do you guys have a consistent escalation path to ensure that the higher stakes issues are handled more effectively, higher clarity, or with more speed?
Yeah, we've got a couple of different escalation paths. There's sort of one for engineering, but we have a customer facing one. And this is really just to ensure that if there is an issue, not every issue needs to be, they need to wake me up for every issue, but some issues, maybe they do. And because we do have a distributed team, we've built in a right escalation path so that whether an issue comes across a support member or a CSM, they know exactly where to go and who to reach out to. This has really helped us minimize potential issues where maybe they don't need to be addressed either immediately or escalated. But there's sometimes where maybe it does, right? And so I think making sure like clarity is absolutely key, making sure that you're super clear with everyone on your team about what the expectation is really helpful. And then making sure that you're arming your team always with the right language and expectations that they can give back to customers is super powerful. The better that you equip your team with knowing where to go and how to ask the questions that they might need to ask will definitely make your job as a CX leader much more effective because also you're getting the right information that you need if you do need to get involved.
For sure. And just touching on a point there, you said clarity is key. How do you guys communicate most effectively? And it could be on the customer side, it could be internally as well, cross functionally. But just is there like any video involved? Is it mainly like Slack channels or what are the channels that you guys use
Yeah.
most?
So we've got a couple. So we have Slack channels that are dedicated to teams, and we also have customer channels that helps us coordinate, especially across time zones where we might have multiple CSMs who are working on a global account, but they're all in different time zones. So having customer focused Slack channels definitely helps. The customer team channels also help too. We've got a dedicated support channel. So if something needs to be escalated or something needs to be looked at really quickly, an example I gave earlier about CSM looping in the support team, if we know that customer needs a really fast response, like they are delivering a campaign, it's launching today, and we need to make sure that there's no issues with it, the CSM can always put on that channel, like, hey, here's an issues ticket. Can you take a look at this? We've got, I think those systems definitely help make sure that we are putting the attention where it needs to go and fostering the right level of collaboration and visibility between teams. And again, beyond that, we've got a number of different tools that we use, like Trello, that can help provide different levels of visibility, especially for if we're managing either different projects or whatnot. So I would say, again, like the tools can help foster the collaboration, but really like when you're thinking about how you organize, and this would largely be dependent upon how your organization is organized, but we try to make it as customer centric as possible. So really like keeping those pods for whomever might be working on that customer has really been helpful because then we're always making sure that any important topics are top of mind and that we can surface them easily.
Yeah, for sure. One of the last questions that I had for you is switching gears here, a little bit of a pivot, but I know that you have a very extensive experience in the customer experience space. Just talking about challenges, what's one major challenge that you might think most CX leaders in this space aren't prepared for right now?
So we've touched on it a little bit, but I know this is probably a hot topic that you are seeing a lot of. It's really around how AI will affect most of their teams. And I think that most CX leaders probably aren't fully prepared for the pace at which your customers will expect AI to be integrated in your products. Also, they're probably not going to be prepared for how to manage rolling out some of the different AI initiatives with their own teams. We've taken a fairly cautious approach. Like we have a little task force and we've identified areas of opportunity where we can integrate AI. We're doing testing and learning to figure out like what would be most effective, what's not going to lose like either the personal touch or the strategy piece or some of the really like high touch important aspects that exist within a customer relationship. So doing it in a really thoughtful way. But the challenge is there's, at least from our team, what we've seen is there's a lot of different sort of levels of understanding about AI. And same with our customers, right? There are some customers who are really passionate about the space. They're using it daily. And I think managing those expectations, both internally and externally, are probably some of the biggest challenges that CX leaders will see, because I think we need to do it in a thoughtful way, because there's no way that you can fully automate, at least from my perspective, some of these processes without losing some of that human touch. And so we want to make sure that we're bringing real empathy to our service. And that's a piece that I don't think you can replace.
Definitely. And I think, I mean, we've definitely dealt with it on our side with especially with bigger enterprise teams. There's a lot of security along like the AI path, that being able to roll it out into those types of organizations, there's so many hoops you have to jump through. So I think, yeah, that definitely resonates with me a lot with the kind of the AI initiatives there. So just to ask you one last question before we go here, I wanted to ask you, what are you most proud of in your career as a customer experience leader?
I think probably what I'm most proud of is I started at Tracker when influencer marketing was being defined as influencer marketing. And over the last 6.5 years, I've been able to grow different teams, expand the scope of the type of business that we're doing, deepen the work that we're doing with our customers. And so I think this journey overall has just been a really rewarding experience, because I have been able to shape our team. So I like to think that I've hired some amazing people and who I really genuinely like working with. And also just I've been given the freedom to test and try new things, and to make sure that we are putting a program in place that effectively answers our customers' questions. It's been a really rewarding journey. We still have a lot more to do, but I'm really excited about where we're going. And a lot of the feedback that we have from the team that supports our customers is that they love our support team, they love our CSMs, and that's honestly the most rewarding piece.
That's amazing. I'm glad you shared that. I think so. We're almost about at time. I think I've asked all the questions that I wanted to ask today. Was there anything else before we go that you wanted to touch on?
No, I think we covered a lot of our key topics that we wanted to touch on, but I've really enjoyed the conversation, Joe. So thanks for having me, and I hope we get to chat again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Taylor. Have a great day.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
Bye.